Alright, what up YouTube? This is your president, the presidential tourist, back with another video. I'm back in Bartow, Florida. I'm here with Justin, the owner of the Blackwater Grave, and he has graciously granted my request for an interview. He's going to talk about everything that goes on here at the haunt, and there's a lot more that goes on than you realize, and he's going to show me around a little bit. And yeah, thanks for inviting me out, and it's always cool. He does a lot of hard work, and this was the second year I filmed the Blackwater Hunt, and I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah. So you know that means, everyone, let's get to it. Yeah. Alright, first off, well, it's okay, you can stay right there if you want. Here's the front of the main haunt. They had two haunts this year, this one and that one, as you would have seen in my video. I'll put the link below if you want to check it out. And okay. So first off, introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about your background, about yourself.
Yeah, so my name's Justin Prine. I'm the owner, co-owner. Me and my wife own Blackwater Grave. We started as a small home haunt back in 2020, back at our home, one town over, Fort Meade. We started off as a little 600 square foot, small little building that we popped up in our front yard, and it kind of grew and grew ever since. This was our 5th year doing the haunt, and we decided 5 years of fear, we need to grow up, kind of step up. So we found this new location thanks to Clear Springs, and we definitely stepped it up this year.
Now, can you tell a little bit about the story? Because every haunt has like lore and story behind it, starting with the Ravenswood Asylum.
Yeah, so Ravenswood Asylum, this is its 3rd iteration. It's changed every year, but Ravenswood Asylum, it was founded by Dr. William Ravenswood, and he founded it in hopes of helping people. But as the years went on, his experiments got crazier and crazier, and then eventually these doors became a one-way street. The patients who enter the asylum don't always make it out. So, yeah.
And can you tell us a little bit about that one?
The Harvest was our new haunt this year. So that was brand new for us, and that's built on basically a crumbling farm that was once owned by Lloyd Crane, who eventually became the Harvester. He was trying everything to get his crops to back to the way they used to be, and found out that fear ripened his crops. That fear, he found, also helped ripen humans. So he eventually started harvesting humans, and every year on the harvest moon he draws unsuspecting tourists in, and they don't make it out either. Now,
is there any connection between the two stories, or are they totally separate universes?
They are all within our Blackwater Grave backstory, but basically it's just that they're brought up. There's not necessarily a link between the two of them. Yeah.
Now, how did you come up with this? Who created? Was it a team effort, or was it on your own? Or
yeah, so we kind of sit down. It's a group of 4 of us, me, my wife, friend of ours, and brother-in-law, and we kind of all sit down and kind of figure out where we want to go with the haunt, if we want to change the storyline this way or that way, and we kind of wait until we figure out what we think is going to work out best for this year.
Now, the first year you started this, did you have a story behind it all, or is it something that kind of evolved?
It's kind of evolved a little bit. It's the Ravenswood Asylum storyline has kind of been the same for the last 3 years, but it's changed a little bit. Last year we did do a Christmas haunt, so we changed that theme a little bit. But we expect to keep it roughly the same, while also changing it up a little bit every year. So.
Can you talk a little bit about your future plans next year?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do plan on bringing back Ravenswood Asylum and the Harvest next year, both with massive upgrades and changes, while also hopefully bringing a 3rd haunt as well for
now, I know this year you had an escape game.
Yes, we called that the Void. That was a part of our Midway area, and it was a separately ticketed thing. It was $5 per person. Groups of 6 could go in at a time, and it basically tested your fear of the darkness. You go in, you get 5 minutes to escape, and then once you get to the end, there's a escape portion that you can try to make it out if you can.
Now, can you just talk a little bit about the building process? How long it took to put all this together?
We rushed it this year. We did our best with the time that we had. We got access to the property this year on July 14th, I believe, is when we first started moving stuff over from our original location at our home. Took us about 2 weeks to move everything over, and then we took every second until opening day. We had media night on October 3rd this year, and I believe I was still putting in some screws on about an hour before we opened up. So yeah, we were here every single day for hours and hours working every day, and it's just a small crew of us. It's like I said, 4 of us that are out here helping out constantly, but we're a good team. We're a good team.
Was there heavy equipment involved, or was it mainly just by hand?
Mainly everything was by hand, lots of manpower, back power, but we did have a couple. We had some help with an excavator that came out, helped us set our entrance fence in the ground. And then we had, of course, our shipping containers brought over. But everything else, for the most part, is all just lifted up by hand, setting screws in, and getting it all up one piece by one piece. So our haunt is built as a modular style. It comes up and down every year. And we're actually in the process of tearing everything down right now, getting everything ready, stacked away safely for next year.
So I'm assuming the tear down pack is basically just reverse of the build up process.
Exactly, and it tends to go a lot quicker. Well, it still does take time, but it does go quite a bit quicker. So we're hoping to have everything tore down before Thanksgiving this year. So.
Hey, you mind showing us around a little bit,
Yeah,
and just maybe talking a little bit about certain things that you think is important to point out?
Yeah. So as you come in through the doors of Ravenswood, the first thing you come to is our intake room. And this is where you'll meet our first scare actor.
Yeah. Now, who is that? He's always does a great job.
Yes. So his name is Byron. He's been with us he's a good family friend, and him and his wife both work with us, and he does a really good job. He's great at bantering back and forth with everybody. So we love having him here. He was in the same spot last year, and when we were setting up the haunt for this year, we asked him, do you want to be back there? Do you want to change up your spot? And he immediately said he wanted to be right back where he was last year. So, yeah,
now
he's really good at what he does.
Did he do Santa last year as well?
He was Santa last year. Yes. So, yeah, he's able to banter back and forth with all the customers, and that's really awesome. So, you leave that and come into the pharmacy here. Off the pharmacy, we have an actor hallway that an actor can scare you multiple different positions. We had a couple different actors in this location, so there's a lot of places in the haunt that are like that, where we can put 2 actors in a hole and they can switch out the scares. They're not doing the same thing all night long.
Now, how do you decide where to place an actor, what they do? I mean, how's that process done?
Yeah, so it starts off in the design process when we're sitting down. The first thing I do is I sit down with grid paper and I lay out the haunt. Lay it out, figure out what's going to work best, figure out where the scare holes need to be. One of the first things we did when we started building Ravenswood Asylum 3 years ago was I wanted to incorporate scare holes, which are, like I just spoke about, areas where one actor can scare multiple locations, or you can have multiple actors in there also that can switch out, instead of just having one area where an actor can come in and out and that be their only scare. That helped out with in the earlier years when we were struggling with low actors. That was a big help.
How do you plan the path? Because a lot of haunts, they have limited space. Of course, you don't have that as much here now.
Yeah.
But how do you decide to do the paths where it makes sense but use the most out of, say, limited space that you may have?
Yeah. So going back to the grid paper, we kind of lay it out, and we basically add in a lot of switchbacks to where there's areas where you're having to walk the entirety of the room instead of just walking us straight through this room. This room is a very straight linear path, but there are plenty of other rooms in the haunt where you have to walk, where there's a single room, you have to walk in an S fashion all the way through it. So that's adding to the length of the haunt while not increasing the total square footage of it. Like you said, yeah, we had plenty of space to work with this year, but with more space also is a lot more building, a lot more wall panels we have to build and that kind of stuff. So keeping it kind of condensed actually really helps out in that fashion. So,
where do you usually get a lot of your props?
We source the props from everywhere. I do a lot of Facebook Marketplace finds. Our more Halloween horror props type stuff. Those are actually bought at the trade show Trend World. But a lot of stuff like your filing cabinets here, your chairs, all that kind of stuff is picked up off of the side of the road. Or, like I said, Facebook Marketplace, stuff that friends and family know that we've been doing the haunt for years. They're, hey, we have this, do you want it? Yep, sure, bring it by. We'll add in the haunt, it'll go somewhere. So it's a lot of physical props that take up a lot of space. So
Now, for someone to become a scare actor for a haunt, how does one become a scare actor, and what do they have to do to be a good one?
Whew, that's probably a question for my actor trainer, Zach, one of the ones that helps us out. But basically a little bit of the behind the scenes process of what we did this year was, this was our first year that we brought on paid scare actors. And we started that process back in August, I believe we had our first kind of casting call, if you want to call it. We posted the job that we were looking for and kind of what we had scare actor positions available, front of house positions available. And we had everybody come out, we interviewed them, we asked them some questions, that kind of thing, what they thought they were comfortable with, if they had any prior experience or not, and then we decided, of course, whether we wanted to hire them or not. We did we had 2 of those 2 days, and then we had 2 days after we hired everybody that we brought them in, and we did a little bit of training, hands-on, getting everybody in the haunt once it was fully built and put together. So it was. Most of our actors this year, I'd say about 80% of them, this was their first ever acting gig, and I think they killed it. They did an amazing job this year.
How many scare actors in total did you have?
This year we ran about, just scare actors, we ran about 35 between the 2 haunts. So, and kind of, like I said, one, depends on the position, but one scare actor can do, 2, sometimes 3 even scares. It just depends on the location and how we built it out. So, yeah,
okay,
so you get multiple scares from one scare actor, so that kind of multiplies your scare with also still kind of keeping it small. So,
and then of course you obviously you give them a little bit of time in between groups so they can come back and do that.
Yeah, exactly. So we try to pulse the haunted house. We do maximum groups of 6. So if you come through with a group of 10, we're going to split you up. We send you through, it's about between a minute and a minute and a half each group. And I like to keep a nice spacing throughout the haunted house. Allows for all our actors to give you a better scare, more personable scare, rather than some of the big haunts like Halloween Horror Nights where they're just shuffling you through in a line.
Do you know about how many people came through here this year?
I don't have the final number off the top of my head. We definitely did increase the attendance from last year to this year, and that was really good with moving locations, so we were pretty happy with the attendance this year.
How was the increase in social media attention?
So it was really great. So as we spoke earlier, we actually had an official media night this year. It was our first ever time doing that, and we had multiple people come out from different media outlets, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, everything. So that was really great. We really appreciate everybody that came out. We know you were one of the first ones that came out, and we were greatly appreciated for that. But it was awesome being able to see and speak with everybody. This year, for the most part, I didn't do a whole lot of acting, so I was doing a lot of talking with everybody and doing that kind of stuff. So it was good. We got a lot of awesome content for this year.
You feel you were treated pretty fairly?
I did, yeah. Everybody was pretty respectful from what we asked and everything, and pretty grateful for everybody. Definitely want to have everybody back out. So. And
all the other visitors, you didn't have any incidents where you had any trouble?
It was very smooth. It was very smooth. So in the past when we were at the home, especially when we were still a free haunt, there was that you get some rowdy people, but we kind of weeded that out, and we didn't have a single issue this year. I mean, there's a couple little things you got to deal with, but nothing serious. Everything went very smoothly. Knock on wood. So we want to take that energy into next year. So, yeah.
Awesome. You want to keep walking and
absolutely.
You just tell a bit about each room we go in.
So this is the room we call patient room 1. It's just a little in-between room where there's not a scare actor. But everything, of course, is going to look much different during the daylight than at night with all of our show lighting and sound. But we are, of course, we're out here in a field. We're open air. We don't have any roof system. So once the darkness comes, it gets really.
It definitely really adds to the spookiness.
Yep, absolutely. So we have a door hallway here where we come up with another scare actor hole that's back here. This scare actor has multiple scares she can do as well, or we can switch out the actor and one person can do one while the other one's doing this one. Yeah. This is patient. We call it patient room 2. But this is one of our favorite rooms,
Yeah.
because of it's a black light room.
Yeah.
All of the tick marks on the wall were hand painted by finger by one of our. Actually, I think by my wife this year. It's been a couple years, and we have to redo it every year because they fade and stuff. So it takes a lot of time to put all these on the wall. But once the black light hits them and it's dark, it looks amazing.
Yeah, this is always one of my favorite rooms.
Yeah, it's awesome in here. This will probably be a staple for the haunt every year. We probably won't change this room up too much just because it's one of our favorites.
So have you always been a fan of horror? Horror related stuff?
Definitely always a fan of Halloween, and going back to trick-or-treating as a kid, even going back to when I was very little. My dad kind of nicknamed me Boo, and that kind of stuck even until he died, and now my mother still calls me Boo. Hey, Boo.
How old are you?
I'll be 30 next year, so still got a long ways to go, but yeah, so we didn't actually start doing haunted houses until going to visit them until me and my wife got together. We started going around back in 2012, 2013-ish. We started doing Halloween Horror Nights at Universal a couple years. Then we started branching out and doing other local haunts. Some of the other ones around here, like Sir Henry, Shallow Grave, that's not here anymore. But then it kind of grew and grew. And when me and my wife moved out, we got married and then we moved out, we decided let's give it a try and let's do it ourselves. So that was in 2020 when we built our first little haunt in the front yard. And then we changed the theme the next year, increased the size. Then the year after that was when we brought in Ravenswood Asylum, and that kind of exploded after that as far as the size go and attendance. So yeah, it's been an awesome journey.
So she enjoys the process as much as you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh yeah, it's definitely, we're definitely a team in this, and we couldn't do it. I couldn't do it without her. Her and the help we get from some of our other family members is just, we couldn't do it without everybody because it's too much work for one person alone.
Is there any horror? Okay, I was saying, is there any horror franchises that you took any inspiration from, or is a favorite of yours?
I love so much. I mean, I'd have to say that it's I kind of pull from a little bit of everything. There's, I might watch a movie and say, oh, that's interesting. I like seeing that, and how can I incorporate that into the haunt? But try to be unique with the haunt and do our own thing and create scares that you might not necessarily get in another haunt. Yeah. You
ever seen anything supernatural? You ever seen like a ghost in real life?
I haven't, no. If you ask my wife, she'll probably say she has, but I don't know.
Do you believe in that stuff?
I tend to kind of say no, but you never know. You never know. You never know what's out there. I'm not gonna knock it. We do have some help that's helped us over the years. That they're in the haunt and it's late at night, dark, or whatever, and you hear stuff move or creak, and it's like, wonder what that really was. But I mean, we don't have it. We're not like a haunt that was built in an old abandoned building or whatever. That stuff like that. We're a completely built haunt that's put up and tore down every year. So we don't necessarily have like the haunting past like some other haunts do. Yeah.
All right, if you want to continue?
Yeah. So this is our laundry room. It's again begun being tore down. It would normally have lots of hanging laundry that you'd have to push your way through to kind of get out of the way, and then the character would come out of here, again down the hallway into the bathroom. So we've made our way through a couple of rooms, and I spoke about the second character hole, and
this is where they would come from?
This is exactly. This is where they would come from, that second hole. So they're in between this one actor. You have another actor that was in the laundry room. So it's not necessarily like one person getting the same scare back to back.
And were these real urinals?
These were actually real, brand new urinals. So
of course
a lot of this stuff. Done a lot of Facebook Marketplace finds.
Of course, you have the porcelain throne. I see.
Yes. It's
that
kind of hiding back there.
Yeah, it seems kind of a stay for a lot of haunts. They almost always seem to have a toilet.
Yes.
Now, one thing I got to ask: where'd you get the pies with the faces on it?
So those were some latex props that we purchased from Transworld this year, and then we hand painted them and distressed them with the blood as well.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yes. So if you picked up on it, there's actually one in Ravenswood Asylum that you just saw, and then there's a couple over there in the harvest this year.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. You get out here where we're at, we get lots of wind, so there's every time we come in here, you never know what you're gonna find laying around, pieces that weren't actually attached down. We had to do a lot of bracing this year with the crazy winds that we have out here. So this is just this would be the hallway that leads you to the second half of the haunt. We've started taking out all of our water jugs from this hallway. So normally there would be more water jugs with lighting and fog here, but it kind of is just a hallway transitioning you to the second part of the haunt over here. We call it the first half and the second half, even though it's still the same haunt. This was our doctor's office that we put together. And I noticed
really cool.
I noticed a couple nights before our last one that looks like a couple people were coming in pretty hot, because that was not dinner whenever we put it in here.
I guess they got a little too excited.
Yes. This was one of our new areas we built this year. It was kind of a transition.
What are these things?
So these are actually drain filled, I guess covers or whatever you call them, for your septic in your yard. These are actually commercial ones, that's why they're so large. But these were brand new, never used, off of basically extras off of a job site that they were offering up for sale. So we picked them up and we had an actor in this room, and we called it our door room. There was multiple exits.
Yeah, I remember that. I think I went through this way and then I went around.
This way. It's torn down now, but yeah, there was another path that you were able to go through out there, another scare actor. Basically, you went one way and it brought you back into this room through this door here, so the actor was able to split the groups up or send everybody this way, and then they come back to him. The official final way you go is out through this way.
Now, normally this is a field for cattle, right?
Yes. Yep. There are live cattle on this property. Currently, they're behind a fence, so they're not in the haunt right now. But while we were building, they were here with us and everything, and they like to hang out underneath the tree we have by the entrance. So they were great. Didn't have any issues. But this is our electroshock therapy room that we have here.
Is that old barber's chair?
It actually was an old dental chair. I picked it up from somebody. They said they believed it was early 20s, and it is heavy.
I bet.
I don't have an exact weight on it, but it's hundreds of pounds. This bottom is cast steel or whatever, and yeah, we bring it in on a dolly, and it takes at minimum two people. You can't move it by yourself. So.
Anything else here that's kind of rare, or is it just easy to get? These here are, I can't remember. We have somebody that helps us out that works in a hospital. I can't remember exactly what this is, but I picked this up from a guy who got some medical equipment from an auction, and she came through the haunt one day, and it's like, how the heck did you get your hands on one of those? These are apparently thousands of dollars, and just picked it up from somebody who wanted to clear out some space in their garage. So, and of course your IV bags and stuff. So this is our kind of take on your padded room. It's one of the areas in the haunt where you can kind of choose your path. So we could have turned over there, or we could have kept coming around here. We have one actor in this area that is really good. He can circle you around in this room, getting you going one way. You think you're going up the right way, but he'll keep you in here for a couple minutes if he needs to. But the exit is over here. So we do have strobe lights at night, which adds to the effect of the difficulty of getting out of that room. If you don't know the actual path, it's definitely difficult. So, and then we call this our morgue room here. So we have an actor scare hole behind this door there that would pop out and everything. Now I'm
This was
assuming.
another one of those that we picked up as well, so just like in the other room there.
Now I'm assuming next year will you generally have the same path?
So with Ravenswood Asylum, we have kept it about 80-90% the same and changed up room here or there. We've got some pretty big plans for next year. We want to change up the entrance to the asylum and then some other rooms too. So, but Ravenswood Asylum will definitely be back yet next year, and it'll be better than ever.
Definitely, because I know it's getting better every year.
Yes, yeah. We kind of take what works every year and keep that, and then what we find that didn't work, that's what we change. So, and this is our This is the greenhouse. Kind of one of the final scenes of the asylum. We do have an actor in here. It's kind of changed over the years. We used to have somebody in a ghillie suit. Then we changed that up this year, but. Lots of physical props and everything. Last year we had a mister effect. I don't know if you remember that. That was going across the top of here, so you kind of got just a little damp whenever you were coming through here. But
now, how do you decide if a scene works and doesn't work?
doing a lot of asking questions as people exit the haunt. What did you like? What didn't you like? And that kind of stuff. And you can kind of tell after it's built. You kind of tell. I want to change this. I didn't like the way that was laid out. I'd like to change this up, or most of the time it's just increasing the size of the haunt. So up until this year, Ravenswood Asylum just was getting larger and larger. This year, it's about the same as it was last year. However, we just changed up some stuff. So the final scene of the haunt is our church, and this is actually a facade that I built. The second year we were doing it, and it wasn't even part of the haunt. It was just a decoration in the front of my yard. So it's a little worse for wear, but it just adds to the effect of everything.
Now, did you actually give this church a name, or is it just church?
It's just the church. It's never had an official name. Just a part of Ravenswood Asylum where everybody would go if they needed to. We had an actor in here. These are uncovered now, but as you come in, these would be covered up, and you never know which the actual actor would be. And then the final scene is the claustrophobia tunnel that you get to exit out of. Normally they would be inflated, and you're pushing your way through the center of them. So it's one of the things that everybody really likes every year.
Yeah, definitely unique. I haven't seen it anywhere else.
Definitely difficult to come through with a camera, but
yeah, but still pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So.
And then we quickly look at that, if you don't mind.
We'll go over to the harvest here.
Now, with the escape game, would that be something you'll be bringing back next year?
Yes, we are planning on bringing back the Void with some changes. Just changing up a little bit, so people that hopefully come back next year that did it this year, give them something different to do, as well as we are planning on hopefully adding a second escape game as well. So just all part of growing. We kind of maxed out what we could do this year with the time we were allotted, but now with basically having both these haunts built and ready to just be put back up next year, we have more time to build more stuff. So yeah, so this is the harvest. The first thing you go into is our barn, where we have our nice big cattle trailer. Fun fact about this cattle trailer, this room was actually built around this because there's not a door in it that's large enough for it to go through. So it was a really effective scare. We had a scare actor in here that was able to beat on the metal, and it terrified a lot of people as they came around. A lot of people would make it all the way around here, peek over, and you can't really see. It's dark. We had this area lit up, but this entire trailer was dark, so you couldn't really see in there.
Now, was this here, or does this belong to you?
This was a purchase we made for the haunt. Yeah, it was one of the larger purchases we made, but we kind of bought this and then built, like I said, physically we built the room around it, but we kind of planned to build this room based off of this prop. This was kind of where we wanted to start with this haunt. We knew we wanted to have kind of like a cattle trailer in the barn, and that'd be like the first scare, and then we kind of built the stuff around it. So it's a really awesome old fridge. We've got a lot of cool old stuff. So A lot of stuff I inherited from my dad. A lot of the old tools and stuff in here, and then anything else we picked up. Like I said, a lot of stuff's on the side of the road. This was our chicken coop slaughter area. We got some more awesome props that we bought this year, and then
I can imagine putting all these on here must have been a real pain.
that was very fun. Yes, Zach did that this year, and he spent a few hours at least in here with spray glue and tearing apart. So these are actually this is a feather boa that you'd wear around your neck that's torn apart. So,
That's something like Coco wouldn't have, huh?
yeah. So kind of this was and I'm surprised actually with the weather we've had. It kind of stuck really well. So. Go in here. This is our pig stall area. We had an actor hole here that also functioned as an emergency exit, but she would come out. It's kind of fading now, but you can see it. We had a little saying on the wall there. Lots of blood, lots of gore in this haunt this year. It was kind of our take on your kind of slaughterhouse type haunted house. Something we hadn't done before. We've done the asylum for the last few years, and we wanted to kind of do something that was a little bit different than what we've done. This is our cage room. We built 2 cages. This is where Lloyd would keep his prisoners live, and we had some victims that were stuck in here.
I definitely remember them. They screamed really loud.
Yes, they were very loud, and we also had this room. It was pretty cool because we had a strobe light in here, a colored strobe light, but we slowed it way down to where it was actually more of an on-off, and so there was periods where it was complete darkness, and the actors could move, and you see there's areas where they could come out, but you wouldn't be able to tell in the nighttime. So.
Now, are these supposed to be like entrails, I'm assuming?
Yes. So these were actually used in Ravenswood Asylum last year. If you want to go back and watch that video from last year, these were in the one of the first hallways that we had. But we hung them up in here and added this kind of like a little storage room before you come into the actual butcher shop.
Were these handmade or were these bought like this?
Those were handmade. Yes, we made those last year. So.
Okay, cool.
They call this our butcher room here. Lots of gore. Our actor here had multiple tools he could use. He had circle saw, chainsaw, all that was very effective. We had this filled up with water that was dyed red, and he would actually pull some of your entrails or some of your skin out of the water and show it to you as you were coming by.
Now, I'm assuming they would chase after you with a chainsaw. It doesn't have the blade on it, correct?
Correct. Yep. So we focus on one of the main things we do when we're building everything, propping out everything, talking with our actors, training them is safety. So if you see like the chainsaw here, it's just the blade without or it doesn't have the actual blade on it. So same thing with our circle saw over here. Doesn't have any blade on it. We don't want to run any risk of anybody getting hurt or anything like that, whether it be the actor or the customer. So anything that could be sharp or anything like that is dulled down, placed out of reach of customers, that type of thing. It's really big that you want to focus on safety when you're thinking about designing the haunt, because if it could happen, it will happen.
How does haunts insure themselves? I mean,
we actually have it's just a regular insurance that we reach out to. I mean, not regular. They actually do specify in haunted houses, special events, stuff like that. Kind of if like you were to get insurance for like a wedding or something like that. So definitely important to carry something like that, because you never know what can happen.
Is that a complicated process getting that?
It was pretty simple. Just a questionnaire. They like to ask exactly what you're going to be doing, what types of what kind of things you're going to incorporate, such as like we have our props that are bladeless in there. We have our claustrophobia tunnel that you saw. Just kind of, they want to know, have a general idea of the area. They want to also know if it's indoors or outdoors, kind of how many people you plan to expect, that kind of thing. But yeah, so we reached out to Levitt Insurance. We dealt with them this year, had a great experience, and we plan to use them next year.
Do they come and do like a walkthrough, or is it just what you tell them?
Yeah, it's basically just what we told them. Yeah, it was just all over the phone and working with them and kind of talking about what we've done in the past. So yeah. So this is the facade for the farmhouse. As you walk in, this the yard area was where we had our pig man with the chainsaw.
Now I'm assuming, what time period would this be about? Is it like the 1950s it's supposed to be, or is it the 80s, or is it more modern?
It's definitely older. We didn't necessarily set a specific time, whereas like with Ravenswood Asylum, it was in the late 20th century. But kind of, I would say it's a little bit older, in kind of how we themed everything and propped it out, but without putting a specific date on it.
Really cool.
Leave out the living room, come in the bedroom area here, and this is another one of those cool things where the customer, as they're coming in for the first time, is not going to know this, but you actually go around the path, you're walking around the room, and then you're going to come back into the same room that you were in, back into the living room. So our actor that we had in the living room can actually get multiple scares.
Yeah, I definitely remember that one.
Yes, and they can actually move around the room and change up their scare however they like.
Oh, what is this supposed to be, like the giant maggots?
Yeah, I was gonna say little maggots, but they're definitely not little. So yes, this was an awesome prop we picked up this year. We actually ordered this. This one was ordered online. So
kind of reminds me of something like Resident Evil or something.
Yes, yeah. So it's actually, so like we said, we're out here in the sun and out. So this, like, his shirt is much more faded from when we put him out here originally. But yeah, he's awesome.
Now, does he have a name?
Whatever name you want to give him. Victim X. And then, as you leave the living room for the second time, you come into the bathroom. One of the scares that we passed over in the bedroom has an opportunity to scare you the second time as well, just behind a window there.
How heavy is this thing here?
Very heavy. Very heavy. It's another cast iron tub. And
now, where did you get that? Because that's definitely not a new one.
Nope, definitely not a new one. That one was a Facebook Marketplace pickup. Did pay for that one, but got that out of Winter Haven. So there's a guy that picked it up from an antique shop and had plans for it. I don't necessarily know what he was going to do with it, but he said he had a project plan that never came to fruition, and it was just taking up space in his backyard, and figured he'd go ahead and sell it. So
yeah,
I told him what we were going to use it for, and he was pretty excited.
Yeah, the last time I saw a tub like that was probably the place I lived in, like back in the 80s. Mm-hmm. Now. Yeah,
they're extremely heavy, and I mean, if they're resurfaced or whatever, they can be pretty valuable. But this one's a little worse for wear. It's been sitting outside for quite a while. Final room in the harvest here is the kitchen. You come in. There's another one of our pie faces there with some actual fake maggots.
What's the story with this fridge?
So that fridge.
Can I open it?
Sure.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
That has to be about the 70s, I think.
That fridge and this stove here were picked up as props for the kitchen we did in our second ever haunt. So that would have been 2021. We did a haunt called Nightmares Unleashed. It was a kind of our take on all the different nightmares that you'd have.
Kenmore.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that type of thing, and we did a pretty awesome kitchen in that haunted house, and both these were props from that from that room.
So what do you think this is, 70s or 80s?
I don't know. You probably know better than me. What do you think? All right. It's definitely the off-white type of kind of yellowish white.
I'd say the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
I'm actually old enough to remember the 80s, sadly.
Yes.
That was before your time.
Yeah, just a little bit. I came around in the 90s, so. And then you'd exit. We torn down our exit path now, but you'd go through. We'd have fence panels up that would take you out back into the midway. So, as you can see, as you panned out there, we have as much space as we want to.
So you could have went way back there if you wanted to?
Went way back there if we wanted to. We could have added. There's any number of things we could have done. So, for next year, we're hoping to add a third haunt. Won't get too much into what we're planning for that yet.
But you probably kind of have an idea what theming you want and everything?
Yes. So, with last year, before we secured the location and weren't really sure if we were going to have a new location or if it was going to be something we were going to have to continue at the house, which we really didn't want to. It was growing too big. We weren't really sure yet, so we didn't pre-plan a whole lot. It was once the harvest kind of came about after we secured the land and decided we wanted to do a second haunt. So this year now, we know we're going to be here. We know kind of what we like this year and what we want to change. So we definitely want to bring a third haunt, and we have some good plans for it for next year. So,
how was your neighbors with you moving? Were they relieved or they're missing you? You think?
The only one we ever had an issue with, who knows, but they definitely missed us. We did talk to them about our trick or treat night in Fort Meade, and it was definitely quite a bit less than normal. But a lot of people that had come in the past years came out this year, and that was really awesome too. We had a lot of new people that never heard about us as well. We did a lot of advertising, which was something kind of we never done in the past. Being out of the home, we didn't want it to grow too big, so we never really advertised. We put some flyers out and let the town know. But this year we had quite a bit of new people, so that was awesome.
Now the social media people you had down here, did a lot of them reach out to you, or did you reach out to them?
A little bit of both. We did do a post saying that we're looking for media to come out, and then we reached out to some also that we've been following or watching over the years. Like I said earlier, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, meeting some TikTokers that we watch, some people on Instagram that we follow, that kind of thing. I didn't reach out to a whole lot, but at the same time, I think the group that we had out was really awesome and got some amazing content. So, yeah.
All right, cool. Anything else you want to add? Anything you more want to talk about the future, or anything about here you think people should know?
I think we pretty much covered everything. We definitely now, probably looking in the new year, we'll start. Now that we know where we're going to be, we kind of can start planning ahead of time. We'll start announcing stuff a little earlier, keep people engaged, get people ready for next year. Announcements should come a lot earlier. So if you want to follow us, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram. That's our two main socials where you get all of the information about what we're going to have to offer here.
All right, and you have a Facebook page and of course a personal page.
Yes.
What's that link?
So our Facebook page for the haunt is just Blackwater Grave. My personal is just my personal Facebook. So, but the Instagram is also Blackwater Grave. We do have a website that we launched this year. It's blackwatergrave.com. You can go there and find all the information about our backstory, stuff like that, as well as that's where you can go and find tickets for next year as well once they go live.
And finally, the Blackwater Grave name. How did you come up with that?
We sat down and we started with a random name generator. We incorporated a couple different names that we liked, and then we generated a bunch of names, started mixing stuff up, and kind of wanted to come up with something pretty unique. So we just sat down. That was again our core group, and we sat down and kind of figured out what we wanted to name it, basically. The very first year when we had that small hunt in our yard, we didn't really have a name for it. We just gave the name of whatever we named the haunt, and then after that we kind of wanted to secure a name and kind of thing. We started the Facebook and that kind of stuff too, so that's when that came about, was the Blackwater Grave.
And of course, I know you have merchandise. You expanded it a bit this year.
Yes, yeah. So, we can kind of walk and kind of show off what we did this year, because it was pretty awesome. Or it worked out really well. We had a grain silo that actually me and my wife went all the way up to South Carolina, and we drug just watch it there. The screen silo here was torn apart, and we brought a big 20-foot trailer up and picked it up in pieces, and then immediately brought it here.
Now, was it taller, or is that all of it?
So this is as tall as we wanted to build it. It does have, so it's 3 rings high currently. It does have 3 more ring sets that could go up basically twice the height. But this worked for what we wanted to do. We set it up. We cut a hole on the outside and then the inside. And we had a partition in the center of it there. The outside being the entrance to the haunt, where our ticket booth was. If you wanted to purchase tickets here, while they were able to be bought online, you could also buy them here. And then this side that we're looking at now was our merch booth side. Right as you're leaving the haunt, we had all of our merch set out here. We offered 2 different shirts this year. We had hats, cups, and some horror pins that sold really well. So it's quite a bit different than during the haunt, but still one of the. This will probably be the last thing we tear down. It was very fun to put up. Let's say that.
I could bet.
So,
They're very heavy too.
Yeah, extremely heavy. So it comes apart in these single bands. You bolt them all together. We built it 1 ring at a time. Build 1 ring, set up the next ring, and then we had to get creative with putting the roof on because we don't really have access to a lot of heavy equipment. So it was very interesting, but we got it up there.
And it's all done by hand, correct?
Correct. This took us about 6. We had 6 people out here helping us do this. It was actually in a rainstorm, so we had to drug it out even longer. But just getting the roof on took us about 4 hours. Yeah. So.
Now, how did you get the logo created for the shirts and everything? Did you hire an artist for that?
We actually we didn't hire an artist. We went with a company online that we kind of told them a little bit of what we wanted to do. They kind of generated it. Then we were able to tweak it, and then unfortunately after we got that, the shirts weren't going to make it in time, so we ended up having to go with a local t-shirt company that also made the hats as well. But it worked out really well. It was just very last minute. We picked up. That was one of the things that we picked up an hour before we opened because we definitely wanted to have those out here for media night. And
it's good you had bigger sizes. A lot of places don't have the bigger sizes, and they don't understand. There's a lot of fat guys like me out there, so
we wanted to have a little bit of everything. So we had small all the way up to 2XL, and it went really well. We didn't have a whole lot left over, so but we'll have a little bit that we'll probably mark as clearance next year whenever we open back up, but we'll also come back with new designs.
Some new stuff?
Yep, so we'll definitely bring some new stuff. That way we're not selling the same stuff that we had the previous year, and give people that come back something else to see. So.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. This was very educational, and I look forward to seeing what you have in the future.
Yes, yeah, we're definitely looking forward to it. Like I said, we've already begun the process of figuring out what we're going to do next year, and we can't wait to get back out here and start it back up.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right.